taking the lead, analyzing the game from the rink to the field. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down, discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 119 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. Old man, how the hell are you doing today?
Should I tell the truth or the lie that I'm telling everybody else?
That's totally up to you.
I'm doing okay. You're going to have to excuse my lungs. My lungs are affecting my voice. Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit smoky out here in Calgary, and it's really kicked the wind out of me, I'll say. So, Jay, I'm going to have to rely on Jake to carry this. So, guys, ladies, gentlemen, probably not going to be the best episode we've ever had.
Well, that's not true. That's just far from the truth. Because until like about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I carried every show.
Oh, Jesus. You know what, folks? He actually believes that shit. He actually believes that shit, folks.
If it wasn't for me, would this show run on time or have any resemblance of a plan?
Oh, hell no.
So whose show is it?
Who does the most talking during this show?
Just because you talk a lot doesn't mean you carry the show.
I carry the show. What the freak are you drinking and out of what? Folks, if you're not watching, you're missing so much. Pick that up. Don't you try to hide it. What the hell is that Kool-Aid?
No, it's Mio. It's strawberry watermelon Mio.
Oh, what's Mio?
It's like you take water and you just spritz it in, make juice.
Are they a sponsor?
No.
Then why are we even mentioning them on the air?
Because you asked what I was drinking.
And why the hell are you drinking it out of a mason jar?
I always drink it out of a mason jar. I don't want to get up. I hate cups are so small. You have to get up every 10 minutes to fill it up if you're thirsty. So might as well just get big mason jar and drink it. And because the old man's struggling to even get through just like the first 5 minutes of the show, I know I'm going to need to do a lot of the talking, so I made sure I was prepared. This is what a good host does. He's prepared. He's ready to fill in when people aren't feeling well.
Like me for the last 2 years.
Let's calm down now. But we do have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Because the last night we watched the Panthers take a 2-1 lead in the Stanley Cup final. Did you have a chance to watch this game at all?
I watched part of it and I had to turn it off. I was laughing too much.
Didn't you pick the Oilers to win?
I did pick the Oilers to win. But it just... I'm so conflicted. I watch these games and I'm like, I effing hate the Oilers. I do. There's no doubt about it. Everybody knows how much I don't like the Oilers. But I don't mind the Panthers. I would have cheered for the Panthers, but for one man. And did you know what today is?
June 10th, 2025.
What happened 14 fucking years ago on this day?
I'm going to assume that Game 7 happened.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
Is this the viral moment where you threw your hand up at an officer and told him to wait until the end of the period?
That might be the moment. If we actually, I could probably you could probably look it up. I just posted the picture. You could probably look it up and download it.
Did you post it on
Facebook?
Okay, but let me see if I can pull that up.
Folks, this was Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Maybe it was Game 4. No, it was Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
I'll trust
the Canucks. Huh?
I said I'll trust you because I don't remember what.
Yeah, it was Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals because I told the officer when he was leaving to go talk to the neighbors. And there it is. There is the freaking famous picture. I told the officer game 6 is coming up. You better go tell the neighbors we're going to get loud again.
So yeah, basically, so to explain what happened.
Thank you.
To explain what happened was we were watching game 5 and there was clearly, I know there was a scrum, and I'm sure Marchand was in the middle of it as normal in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And
Kessler
we
was
were
getting the shit kicked out of him in front of the net.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Kessler was a bit of a pest. But what happened was me and the old man were sitting inside watching, and my mom, regular commenter on the show, Nancy, and a friend of the family, Teresa, were outside because Teresa was smoking. And all they heard was, I'm assuming one of the neighbors around us, all they heard was us screaming, and I know for a fact Teresa screaming, "We want blood! We want blood!" Thought nothing of it, of course, because we're watching a hockey game. And was this the end of the second or end of the first? This would have been the end of the second.
Coming up to the end of the second.
And all of a sudden you hear this bang, 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 bang on the door. Our family dog Max is losing his mind. And so I run to the door full speed. There's a guy, one cop with his head like this, looking in the window. I grab Max. You grab Max or I grab Max?
You grab Max.
I grab Max. Old man opens the door and there's a officer there who's clearly amped up, ready to go, has his hand like on his firearm. He's like, "Are there any women in there with you guys?" And we're like,
"No." He says, "What the hell's going on in there?"
Right.
And I said, "We're watching a hockey game."
And then
as amped up as he is.
And then he said, "Are there any women watching with you guys?" And we're like, "Yeah, we got a report of a domestic." No, we're watching the hockey game.
No, I said, "Why would I beat my wife? She's a Canuck fan."
And literally, you could see him go from ready to go to, "Oh, okay. Okay, well, we're still going to have to come in and take everyone's IDs." And we're like, "Yeah, come on, whatever." Like, and then you get the picture.
Because he asked me for my ID, and I gave it to him, and he was asking me questions, and my hand's up like this in this picture, but it went from there up to there when I said, "Hold on, the period's almost over."
Yeah, because I remember I just opened my wallet, grabbed my ID, and threw it on the table.
I don't know where you are in this picture. You must be sitting down on the.
I'm probably sitting on the couch here, where the mouse
on the
is.
love seat. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was.
And then
years ago, and then it went viral on Facebook, and CBC ended up doing a report on it and aired it right before Game 6.
That is correct. We were famous for 30 seconds.
It was. We were. But in that all being said, Marchand still up to his dirty tricks.
Freaking hate Marchand.
Except for a completely different team in the Florida Panthers, who I think have played this masterfully, because the Oilers have unraveled completely. Just completely unraveled.
Yeah, there was blowouts last year and it went to game 7, but this year, this game was different. They looked defeated in the halfway through the first period. Their legs got heavy and it wasn't good.
No. And don't get me wrong, this team can turn it around. They lost to LA a game in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
And then went on a 6-game winning streak. Anything's possible with this team, and I never count them out. But it kind of looked like a game that could be the undoing of the Oilers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back. What was the final score? 32-1 or something?
I believe it ended at 5-1.
It's going to be interesting to see if the Oilers can actually bounce back.
It ended 6-1. Sorry.
Yeah, they have to come out and win next, tomorrow, and then take another 5 days off and play again, because that's what they seem to do. And
this time it's only 3. They play on the 9th and then they play on the 12th.
I was only joking. Is it really?
They played the 9th. Yeah, they don't play again till Thursday.
No, the 9th was yesterday, dude.
And then they play the 12th.
Yeah.
And then they play the 14th. So it's every 2 days now after that big break.
Okay. It seemed like there was a long break in between games 2 and 3.
It just felt that way because there was just one extra day.
Oh, was there?
Because in the Stanley Cup playoffs, like normally there's a game every single night.
Maybe that's why it seemed like it was weird.
So we went 2 nights without a game, and it's like, what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Oilers are going to have to come back and attempt to restore order, if you will, in the Wild West, down in the Wild East. If they come home down 2-1, or sorry,
3-1.
3-1, I think they can stick a fork in them.
Yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised to see not Skinner, the other goalie for Edmonton. My brain has gone completely blank.
And you're not going to expect me to know that. Bouchard?
No, that's their defenseman.
Yeah. Fuck, we are the hockey experts.
Pickard.
Thank you.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Pickard get the starts.
Yeah.
Because Skinner looked like he was back to his old ways.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe they fire him in and say, hey, we're going to run with you.
Yeah, and you know what? Crazier things have happened.
Exactly.
Speaking of crazier things that have happened, first off, there's 2 things here that I want to touch on. Canucks ownership group and general manager and VP of hockey operations are looking at practice facilities. Finally, they're actually doing things.
Yeah.
They were caught at the Rosemary Brown Recreation Center in Burnaby. There's a picture that was posted to Twitter, and Donnie and Dolly ran with it and followed it up.
Hold on, time out. I am
Donnie and Dolly on Check TV.
Yeah, our audience that Donnie and Dolly were from the Donnie and Dolly.
Well, yeah, you know
where
what
else would they be fucking from?
Well, technically, it was I think sent to Rick Dollywall of Donnie and Dolly, but then I said it all at once, and the words aren't working all well. All right.
See, folks. This, I'm staring at my microphone. I don't know why I'm staring at my microphone and not the camera.
This is how you speak to them. This is how they see you.
Lack of oxygen to the brain. That's all.
It's going to be a rough show.
This is why I have to carry the show most days, folks.
Of course.
This is why.
But they were spotted at the Rosemary Brown Center in Burnaby.
Yes.
Which is kind of far away, about a half-hour drive from the stadium. Irfan Ghaffar is also reporting that they were also looking at Britannia Community Center in East Vancouver. The Britannia Community Center is going through some really big upgrades right now. And
I'm glad you just said that, because Q-Man in the chat says Britannia is a dump. It's like you're in prison around there. It's funny he says that, because I was going to comment. I went to grade 10 at Britannia High School, and it was a dump back there.
Yep. They are working on back in 2018, they estimated a $490 million redevelopment plan for that area.
Yeah. But the problem with it isn't the actual arena.
No, that's for the entire area. That's not just the arena.
Because, oh my God, it's a bad area. That's East Hastings, dude.
But what do the Aquilinis do other than hockey? Hockey.
They develop.
So would it be prudent for them to help rejuvenate an area and then buy up a whole bunch of land for dirt cheap?
They literally, it's blocks off East Hastings.
I understand. I know where it is. I'm just throwing it out there. This is where they're talking. It's either Britannia or Burnaby.
Well, and the problem being, what's the problem? Oh, we want something closer to the arena, which would be awesome, but you can't. There's nothing you can build there unless you're going to build on water.
Do something.
right?
You're one of
Burnaby's
two.
not that bad.
It's just a commute, because then are players going to be living closer to Rogers, or are players going to be living in Burnaby?
It would be interesting to see where players live when they play in Vancouver.
Most of the younger ones live right downtown.
You think they do?
Yeah. The Aquilini Towers are attached to the arena. There's a reason for that.
There's no towers attached to the arena.
It's like literally the arena's here, and then there's two giant towers.
They're across the street, right?
Yeah, right across the street.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not physically attached, but right
well,
there.
That's what I'm picturing. I'm picturing I'm like, no, Jake. It's in between the viaducts. There's no towers.
Nope. But there's two big towers just across the street, and those are owned by the Aquilinis.
Oh, are they?
So there's a lot of players who, if they don't make their home base in Vancouver, they'll live there.
And still, that's not that bad of a drive. It really isn't. It's just down to Hastings. You're talking 20 minutes to a half hour tops.
Yeah, but you're also, it's got to be worthwhile for your team to be able to make that commute every single day when you're practicing.
Yeah, I mean,
the facilities have to match what you need to make it make sense.
It could be a 45-minute commute just in downtown Vancouver. Look how long it took us to get 15 blocks that night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, it's traffic is ridiculous. But again, that's the biggest problem is this arena was not in downtown Vancouver. It'd be much easier to build a practice facility.
Yeah. I mean, the original, when they first, way back when they talked about building the dome, it was going to be out in Coquitlam. And then when they talked about the arena, it was going to be out in Coquitlam. But of course, everybody wants it downtown, right? It's the same as Calgary. Yep. It has to be downtown. Hardest place to get into.
But at least in Calgary, there's room. Like, they're building in empty lots right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, downtown Calgary is vastly different than downtown Vancouver.
Oh,
there's no room to build anything in downtown Vancouver. You'd have to demolish buildings or blocks to be able to build anything.
Exactly.
So, something to keep an eye on. At least they're actually looking at these is looking at places, because that was Jim Rutherford's thing from day one, is that they wanted a practice facility. And you know what Rick Tocchet talked about in his first availability with the Flyers?
The
practice facility.
Go figure.
And then news I wanted to touch on that I didn't put in the rundown, but we can talk on it really quickly. The GM and the VP of hockey operations for the Vancouver Canucks, Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin, did not go to the scouting combine this year. You might think it's no big deal.
I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm saying some people might think it's not a big deal, but the draft is decentralized this year.
Yes.
The talk around the league and around the insiders was that this is where the deals were going to be made this year, rather than on the draft floor, the draft room floor. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, that's right. You said it right.
That deals were going to be talked about here.
Yeah.
So the fact that they didn't go to the combine is like, okay, do they have nothing to talk about? But two, why? They have a top 15 pick, and you're not going to watch the players in person yourself? Does that signal to you that we're not making that 15th overall pick, that there's a deal waiting for X thing to happen, for the Abbotsford Canucks to win the Calder Cup, for a trade to happen?
You know, it's funny. I was watching people post about the baby Canucks, as we like to refer to them as, and I thought, I wonder, is everything on hold because it involves a lot of the players, or players that are playing are a piece of that puzzle? It'll be interesting to see. Is there already a deal in place? Who knows?
Yeah, just again, more Canucks things that just stay on the back.
You hear so many rumors right now. It's like this person's being. It's just like, okay, I see it, then I'm like, okay, who tweeted that? Oh no, I'm not going to listen to that. Oh, where's that on Facebook? No, I'm not listening to that site.
Well, And there's so much misinformation, and I honestly think some of it does come from reliable sources that believe they have their information correct. But there's also misinformation campaigns from these franchises.
Hell yeah.
Right? Like, I'm
And
sure.
on purpose. Look over here. Look what I'm doing over here. I'm stealing your wallet over here.
And I'm sure people like Elliot Friedman or Irfan Ghaffar, people who have the inside track and knowledge, there's a reason why they wait for 2 or 3 people to confirm things with them before they talk about things. One more quick thing in the world of Canucks, because it's official. The Abbotsford Canucks are, for the first time in franchise history, going to the Calder Cup playoffs.
Canucks might win a cup. We could say the Canucks have won a cup. And
you know what? I will use that technicality on everyone, because
I will tell everybody to shut the fuck up. The Canucks have won a cup.
Because now not only has Vancouver won a Stanley Cup in the Vancouver Millionaires, but also the Canucks have won a cup in the Calder Cup.
Well, we haven't won anything yet.
If they win. I think it's going to be a tough test. The Abbotsford Canucks, even at this point, were one of the only teams that had to play that first round. They played more hockey than any other team in the world. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it starts Friday.
Does it? What is it? Is it a tournament? It's a full tournament.
Like the Calder Cup playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Friday, June 13th at Charlotte at 7 p.m. Eastern, so 4 p.m. Pacific.
And how many games do they need to win?
Best of 7.
It's a best of 7.
Yeah.
There we go.
So it'll be 2. They do 2 at Charlotte, 3 in Abbotsford, and then 2 back at Charlotte.
That's the way the NHL went for a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah. I think the NBA still does it this way.
And now we're back to 2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it more even, I guess, because owners complain about not getting money from attendance. But that's a rant for another day when we don't have a whole bunch to talk about in the CFL. Because CFL Week 1 is in the books. And it was a fun week. There's really only one game. There's really only one game that I didn't get to catch parts of it live.
Let me guess. It was probably the Argos game.
No, actually, I saw bits and pieces of that live.
Oh, okay.
The only game I didn't get to catch, like I caught a handful of plays, but it was the Red Blacks at Riders. I didn't get to see most of that. So I'm going to let you do kind of the heavy lifting on this one. But the Red Blacks lose to the Rough Riders by a score of 26-31 in Saskatchewan.
Which I picked. I might have.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's calm down.
Or did I pick this one? Is this the one I missed?
No, this is the one you picked. You missed Tie Cats.
I missed the Tie Cats. I did.
But again, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Riders looked good. Did they look great? No. There's still lots of room for improvement. It was game 1. Drew Brown had a good game. Lots of drop balls. Lots and lots of drop balls in this game.
From both teams or
both teams? Both teams.
Interesting.
Yeah, both teams. So I know I said Ottawa was the question mark, and I haven't got the stats in front of me. I should have, but I was on a call just before we went live. I forget what the stats were for Brown, but he looked good. So Ottawa could be the surprise out of this.
That's fair.
Yes.
I didn't get to catch it, so I don't have a lot to say on it. So let's jump to the next game of the week, which is the Argos taking on the Els. And I put it here, the Argos are missing their quarterback because I think that was the story of the game.
100,000,000%. And if you remember when I was picking this one, you reminded me that the Argos wouldn't have the QB. And I changed my pick mid-sentence and went with the Els, which I'm so glad I did. The Els dominated. It should have been a lot higher scoring on the Els part. their QB, Mr. Alexander. I wish I would have pulled up the stats. I should do that as we're talking. He didn't have the greatest game, I'll say.
But they won, so does it matter if he had a great game?
No, but yeah, I mean, you have to go by your play. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, we won." Well, yeah, but you got lucky.
Yep.
Right? I'm just going to team stats here. Who was I talking about? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Alexander.
For
the Owls.
The L's, yeah. Only 10 first downs.
Okay.
Not the greatest, like I say.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm lost here. Continue.
I was just going to say that from the Argos point of view, it to me really showed the gulf of difference between their normal starting quarterback and Arbuckle. I think Arbuckle's the story last year with Arbuckle coming in and being able to win is fantastic.
Yes.
But they're definitely missing their quarterback.
Yeah, well, when you're looking at your where did it go? I had the stats up and now it just appeared. There it is. When you're looking, Davis Alexander, he went 26 for 19 with 70 for at 73%, 205 total yards passing. Not the greatest.
No, that would be a pretty miserable stat line no matter the score.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, Montreal's got some work to do, but I still say they're going to be one of the better teams.
Yeah.
In the East. Toronto, I think, is going to run away with it, to be blunt.
Do you think it would have benefited the Argos to hold on to Kadeem Carey for this game?
I still don't understand how the MVP. What was his? He won an award during the Grey Cup.
Most outstanding player.
I forget which award it was, and then they booed him. It's kind of one of those.
Makes you ask some questions.
Yeah, there's got to be more to this than what we know. How's that?
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yes.
I 100% agree. But he did end up signing and is on the practice roster for the Rough Riders. So maybe it was just things didn't work out with the Argos and for whatever reason. But yeah, back, especially with the, was it the Rider? Was, the running back for the Riders, Ouellette. Have you seen any updates about his condition? Because he took a nasty looking hit.
He did, and this is why they signed
Carey
because of the hit on that happened. He got taken off on head protocol, so. Concussion for sure, I would think. I haven't, of course, it's a CFL. It's Monday. No, it's Tuesday. We won't hear anything till Wednesday at the earliest. Probably Wednesday, whether he'll be playing.
Fair.
I would think not if they brought him in that quick.
Yeah, to me, that was kind of the biggest signal to me is like, okay, clearly they need a contingency plan just in case.
Yeah.
If he's out for 8 weeks with a concussion. Right?
Exactly.
Anything else on this game before we jump to the early part of the doubleheader?
No, let's jump to the early part.
The Ticats go into Calgary and big play VA wins with the Stampeders by a score of 38-26.
Now, I was wrong in this game. The whole thing was wrong. I throw flags. I give myself the whistle. Technical foul. What made me think Bo Levi would change his way? Bo Levi's done. Like, I'm sorry. I read on Twitter people were saying it was the receivers, and no, Bo was overthrowing people by 50 yards. I'm exaggerating.
But that's always been Bo's problem, is not only does he, when he makes a bad throw or if there's a broken play or whatever, it's never him. He always, you did it wrong. And we saw that firsthand sitting where your season tickets used to be.
Yes.
It literally used to be Bo throwing his helmet, grabbing the iPad, being like, no, you did this wrong.
Yes.
And Dave having to calm him down.
His stats, third of the quarterbacks that played last week, 50 attempts, 31 completions for 62%, 304 yards. His longest was 23 yards.
Not terrible stats wise.
No, 300 yards. I mean, you throw the ball 50 times. That's the most attempts of any other quarterback, any other game. But the closest to him was Drew Brown with 41.
But the big thing with that is, do the Ticats have a running game?
Yeah, well, that's the issue, right? You set up your pass by running.
Yeah.
Right? You don't. It's not the other way around.
No, exactly.
Right? So, sorry, I'm just going to team run, and I'm not seeing it here for some reason. Defensive tackles, team stats, running for Hamilton. Yeah. Rush. Oh, first downs. They only got 4 first downs.
4 first downs in the entire game?
That can't be. Yeah, that's what it's showing me. Team statistics, first downs rush.
Oh, for rushing first downs.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Whew. I was like, what the? It was really confusing me. So I'm going to have to be more prepared next week.
Well, we are an hour earlier than we normally go.
Well, we are.
So,
my brain isn't working as well as it should. So you're going to have to excuse me. If you don't like it, turn us off. I don't care. Oh, sorry.
It's a great way to get fans. Turn us off if you don't like us. We don't care.
We don't care. Shut up. Jerk.
From what I saw, it took almost no time for Vernon Adams to find his rhythm with the receiving core in Calgary.
They terrify me, Jake.
There were a few throws I saw that I think were overthrown because of the wind in Calgary.
And not only that, there was one in particular where VA threw it. The guy went long. VA threw it inside, or the other way. Yeah, he threw it inside. The guy went for a post. Different from what we just talked about with Mr. Bo Levi. Right away, VA went, it's on me. Sorry, it's on me.
Right?
It was amazing to watch.
And I mean, there's a reason why Vernon Adams calls himself and is quite well respected around the league as being a recruiter, because he's willing to take that onus when he makes a mistake. Don't feed into the comments. I saw it. We're just moving on. The Vernon Adams
is your friend. I'm sorry, but
Vernon
Brandon,
Adams,
we love you.
Vernon Adams is a big time player who's not afraid to make a mistake.
Yes,
but then own up to it. That
boy, he can throw that ball with accuracy, and he can throw that ball a million miles. I'm not kidding when I say I'm worried that Stamps have got it all put together. A couple more pieces. It's week 1. Watch out for the Stamps. They might be a team this year.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They made all the right moves, in my opinion.
Yeah, they really did.
Anything else before we get into, obviously, the game we're going to talk about the most?
The game.
Because
the legend.
Yes, that was Snoop Dogg opening for this game, in which the Lions handedly won by playing only one half of football. by a score of 31-14 against the Edmonton Elks.
I think both teams were high in the first half. I think that had to do with Snoop Dogg. The
I don't know.
atmosphere in the dome might have been a little smelly. Just a little smelly in the dome.
A little green haze, if you will.
Little aroma happening in the dome.
I don't know what happened because that first half and that second half, two different teams for BC.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was predictable outcome. We knew it was going to happen. VA had something to prove in Calgary, and Rourke had something to prove in
BC.
In BC. So yeah, he came out in that second half, and it was like someone lit a fire under that guy, and holy did he tear it up. And let's not take anything away from Mr. Trey Ford. There were some plays where that one play where he ran back 30 yards, 35 yards backwards and sideways and around the corner. There were some big boys chasing him, like big boys chasing him.
And not slow big boys.
No, that was
guys
Matthew
who can
Batts.
usually. I was going to say guys who can usually close that distance and crush you.
Yes, that was Matthew Batts. That wasn't just anybody. He not only got away from him, he pulled away from him and ended up throwing the ball, and they almost got a touchdown out of it. It was one of those plays. Just as a pure fan,
you just get excited.
I jumped
to watch.
out of my seat.
Yeah.
So, great win. If you look at the stats of this game, I was bugging Jake. I told him that our net offense was going to be 500 yards if we keep this up. I wasn't far off there, young man. We net offense was 446 yards.
Jeez, that's wild.
Right? Calgary's was 428.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of that, I mean, both Calgary, I'm going to go back and forth between these two games, obviously, because VA and Rourke are the kind of spotlights right now in the CFL. They were both running like banshees, literally running like banshees. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm excited. I made a tweet or a comment on Facebook about I listed each quarterback for every team, and I don't think I've ever been this excited to watch CFL because every team has a chance to win. Like with their lineup, with their quarterbacks, with their receivers. It's insane right now.
Yeah. It's a great thing for the league, especially coming onto a year for like looking at it from a business perspective where the media rights are up. And you're having games that are, I mean, the biggest gap in game is 17 points, 18 points, Argos and Owls, right? Like and that Elks game going into the half was 7-1, something like that. It was 7-3, I think. It was a super low scoring game.
Yes.
And then the second half happened, and it's like, and I think I don't know if I commented to you about it or to D about it, but it's like the adjustments made at the half for both teams.
Yes.
It's just the Lions worked better than the Elks did.
The Lions beat them down. And I wish we could show the hit, but apparently we're not allowed to. It's still TSN's footage. But there was a hit. BC laid on Edmonton. Midfield, wide open. I thought it was a penalty when I first saw it. I've gone back and I've looked at it numerous times. I don't know if it should have been.
So that penalty or that play, he came in, turned his shoulder. So his shoulder was making first contact.
Yeah.
Secondly, the receiver caught and turned and looked at the guy who was hitting him. Okay, so
and ducked.
Right away, that's not a hit on a defenseless receiver. That could be a penalty.
Yes.
Didn't lead with his head. Okay, not spearing. Leading with his head. What that was a big fucking hit that made initial contact and rode up, which is what the pads are designed to do. Football pads are designed so when you connect, you slide. He slid in that direction, and both their helmets popped off.
I have not seen a hit like that in a long
Same.
time.
But to throw a penalty flag on that, sure, it was inconsequential in the end. Say it was a 3-point game. That 15-yard penalty puts you in field goal range.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
How can you punish a player for a hit where you look at the big things that you're supposed to look for on a hit and you review it?
I think,
and you throw a flag.
But you review it if you don't throw a flag.
Yeah, but then you can pick up that flag, and yeah, you can. You can review anything apparently, because earlier in the game we had a review for what was the call that they made that they reviewed?
Oh, the illegal hit on their kickoff on a punt. It was a illegal hit
block,
to the
an
back.
illegal block. Yeah. Apparently, you can challenge that now.
I'm still trying to find that.
I honestly think the wording on the challenges now is any penalty can be reviewed.
That's crazy then.
So then why wasn't that reviewed and looked at, slowed down, see where that contact's made?
Yes. I agree. I mean, you're a ref, so in the exact moment, you might not be looking exactly at that exact moment, and all you see is two helmets go flying. You think there's a flag. You think you're automatically going, that had to be hit.
If I'm in that game, like in junior level, that's a penalty every single day of the week. But I don't have the benefit of throwing that flag and having someone tell me, hey, no, the contact was made with his shoulder. He looked at him. Okay, we can pick that flag up. After review, it is determined that there's no flag on the play.
That's what should have happened. Because I was messaging with your uncle Keith, and he was saying that it was a cheap penalty and that guy should be kicked out of the league and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, definitely a penalty. And then I looked at it the next day, and I saw it like 5 times. And I was like, I don't think that was a penalty. Then I really slowed it down and I really looked at it and went, no, not a chance. He hit him here. He didn't hit him in the head.
For Dwayne Ford to comment on it, and I mean this in the nicest way because he is very, very specific about things he'll challenge the referees on, because they are probably technically paid by the CFL for everything. He even commented and said, I don't think, like, on the broadcast after the replay, he's like, I don't think this should have been a penalty. I understand it's.
He's like,
I understand it's a big hit and it looks nasty, but I don't think it's a penalty. So
it'll be interesting. Obviously, no supplementals should come from that.
Better not.
Right? I'm sure the league's reviewing it, but I'm sure
which 100% they should.
Yes.
Right?
Anything like that.
And then the fact that it wasn't that play. There was another play where an Elks receiver went up and caught the ball and got his legs taken out. Completely fine hit. It's not like he went low to hit him, but it was a high throw from Ford. And before they even took the snap of the next play, he was a medical concussion spotted out. Protocoled out. That's 100% what you should be doing with your concussion protocol.
100%.
Because I don't know if he came back. Honestly, I don't remember. Because it was later in the game, so I don't know if he had time to go through the process and come back. But I'd much rather players get checked than for them to say, okay, you know what, let's take a play and let's see how he acts. No, you know what, that looks like he landed right on his head. You're coming out, go to protocol.
Can we talk about how cool it was to see Mark Killam as a head coach up in Edmonton? And what I liked is he hasn't changed. He's still like jumping all over the field. He's still the crazy as all fuck. I mean, we saw him here in Calgary. For folks that didn't know, my season tickets were right dead 55-yard line, 3 rows up from the bench. So you saw everything, and we were up behind the Stamps bench. And he was excitable,
Which is good. I think it's
Yes.
good for the league when you have excitable coaches who are charismatic. But even seeing Buck Pierce as a head coach, right?
Loved it.
These guys have been. I mean, in Buck's case, he started his career with the Lions. Went and coached, and people were like, okay, like he's going to be the next head coach of the Bombers. Well, the Bombers aren't ready to move on. So he's moving on. Right?
I remember when I broke that Buck Pierce was going to be considered as a head coach. Pretty much I said he was going to get it. I had inside information. And people were like, there's no way his wife's a big real estate agent out in Winnipeg. There's no way he's coming here. Well, guess what, folks?
And just because she's a big real estate agent in Winnipeg doesn't mean she can't still be a big real estate agent in Winnipeg.
Exactly. There's such thing as airplanes, people.
Overall, fun first week in the CFL.
Absolutely.
Second
amazing.
week gets kicked off. Oh, I had it up and I had to close it because I was having some technical issues. Second week kicks off with who's playing this first week, the first game this week. Give me a second. I'm ill prepared. The Lions and Bombers, right? Because the Lions have a short week this week.
Yes.
Playing on Saturday, then playing on Thursday. But we have before we get into that, let's get into everyone's favorite segment because this will lead perfectly into it. Uh-oh. We might not have the intro. Old man, can you hear me? I might be dead.
It's time for the old man predictions. How well did he do?
Old man, can you hear me?
Do-dee-do.
Hello. Can anyone hear me? Were you able to hear me the whole time?
Huh? No.
I'm having some technical issues.
Oh, well, we did there was the thingamajogger, and then it just came back on.
Oh, I had absolutely nothing.
Oh, you did the whole promo thing was running, and then you just came back on.
Whew. All right, so technical issues on my side. I apologize, but it's time for the old man predicts. How well did he do? Do-dee-do. Because last week he went 3 wins, 1 loss, giving him a record of 3-1. He's celebrating.
That's all I could do.
All right. I was waiting for more, but
that's all you're getting this week.
So Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, we have the BC Lions taking on the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. Old man, who do you have in that game?
Well, since Winnipeg has to sit. Your mom says she heard you talking through that whole thing.
All right. Interesting. So
I didn't hear a word. That's weird.
It might literally be you ducking your head under the camera while me being like,
no, I saw the do, like the whole thing was up on my screen.
I'm happy it was for you, but apparently it didn't go out to anyone else.
So all they're going to see is like the redness of my burnt scalp, apparently.
Oh, we're full of technical difficulties today.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll fix it in post.
There you go. So Winnipeg will be without Mr. Kolaris this week because he has to sit the first game.
Because he's a cheater.
So I'm going to tell you, you want to talk about a guy with a chip on his shoulder going into a game? You think Mr. WestJet, as our good friend Rod Peterson calls him, is going to have a bit of a chip going into Winnipeg? You better believe it. I'm taking BC. I'll never not take BC. You know that. But I'm taking BC, and I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think BC is going to win handedly.
Fair. Then we have the Owls taking on the Red Blacks Friday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time.
I think we are going to see Drew Brown pull this one out. And I'm going to take Ottawa.
Interesting. Then we have the Stampeders with
I'm okay.
Stampeders going into Toronto to take on the Argonauts.
This one is my weekly coin costs. I don't think their quarterback's back yet for Toronto.
I don't believe so, but I haven't seen anything to say that he's completely out either. So
No, me neither. I'm going to take Calgary in this one. And I could regret that. But Calgary wins by 3.
interesting. And then we have the last half of the doubleheader on Saturday, and we have the Saskatchewan Roughriders going into Hamilton to take on the Tiger Cats.
After me being the Bo Levi fan and saying how he's going to have the comeback year, and he let me down so drastically last week, I am going to take Saskatchewan. And I am pretty sure Bo will be pulled before the half. And that'll be the last we see of Bo Levi Mitchell in the CFL. That's my prediction.
That's a bold take.
Woo!
So we have the old man predictions for week 2 of the BC Lions, the Ottawa Redblacks, the Calgary Stampeders, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, baby.
Well, so much for we had talked before the show about how we were going to try to make this a quick, tight show, and I said we can always try. We fail to succeed every time. We've done it once. We have I don't think we've ever done a sub 30-minute show, but I think we've done 2 sub 40-minute shows in the entire history of this entire thing.
The only time we did one shorter was the when we went to Vancouver and we tried to do a show from the inside.
I don't even count that one because that was you talk about clusterfucks of technical issues on this show. That was a clusterfuck of many different things. Plus, we were drinking. It was a whole thing. That we don't even talk about that. That wasn't even a show.
That wasn't even a show.
But that is the show for this week for episode 119. Yes.
Sorry. Before we go,
we're holding on.
We're holding on. Somebody's commenting. Do you notice what we just did, folks? I'm going to try to stare at the camera. Do you notice what we just fucking did? We spent more than 30 minutes talking about how great the CFL was. How amazing, how much fun this week was. Yeah, notice what we didn't do? Not once. Why did you make yourself big and me small? Not once did we talk attendance. That's what I think of all your attendance. Done. Can you not hear me? Are you? Jake's got his hands in the air. I don't know what that means. So I get to say it. Goodbye, everybody. We love you.